What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to be taking a quick look at Dungelot, Shattered Lands. It's a dungeon crawling title, if the name of the game hadn't given that much away. It is by Red Winter Software and published by Tiny Build. I do usually quite like Tiny Build's taste in games, so we're going to head on in and have a look at this one. Options menu is down here, there's not a lot to see. It's a Unity game, so you've got your resolution options and your graphical presets in the Unity launcher before we get into the game proper. Music and sound effects are separate, so that's always good. Full screen also available here, although obviously the Unity launcher also has that. And I believe the developers are Russian, so your language options are English and Russian. There you go. So that's about all there is options-wise. It's a visually pretty simple game. It's a mechanically pretty simple game. There's really not a lot it really needs, I don't think, so it probably covers most of the bases you'd want the options to there. Let's head on in. We're dungeon crawling. We have a number of heroes to go crawl dungeons with. We have a paladin who's our default guy. We sort of halfway through the first area will unlock a vampire. I can't say I've played with him to any great extent, so I can't really see how he stacks up against the paladin too much. Later on we will unlock a witch, and beyond that a bard as well, but I ain't got that far. Can be kind of a little bit challenging, so I haven't finished the first section of the game yet. I've kind of nearly, really nearly finished it, and only didn't due to a stupid gaffe on my part. So the Paladin, the guy I'm most familiar with, he has a couple of skills at his disposal. He starts with one ability. After you've done the first level or two, you very quickly learn a second ability. You presumably, I would imagine, unlock the third and fourth ones in the next acts. You have a couple of passive abilities. All the classes kind of have, you know, rough analogues to these. We've got Retribution. Killing an undead monster gives a 5% chance to increase the next attack damage. So if you're going around killing the undeads, you can get a little more attack power, which is kind of nice. And then they've kind of got a downside as well. In this case, he will be paying basically a bit of a tax. Every 10th coin that you'll collect in the dungeons will be given to feed the poor and needy. The developers, apparently. We can change over to a vampire, so we can have a quick look at some of his skills. So he's got a couple of different abilities. He's got one that deals damage. Similar to be fair, a lot of paladins deal damage, so they're not drastically different. We've got a few different effects. The paladin is more just raw damage, whereas this got the teleportation effects on it as well. Dark Hit is intended to be a finishing blow, whereas paladin, I found myself using his abilities more as an opener than a finisher. Whereas this one, yeah, if you don't kill the target, it'll deal damage to you as well. As passive, you got a 5% chance to drain the enemy's health and restore 15% of your health. And you got Photophobia, so if you take fire damage, you're going to take extra damage. So they both got their upsides and the downsides. I imagine the other ones will have very similar upsides and downsides to them as well. So I'm going to go with the Paladin because I'm familiar with him. So let's head on in. We have 3 acts to play through in these Shattered Lands. I ain't got to Act 2 or 3 yet, because, yeah, a lot to do in Act 1 first. As I say, I've been playing this for about 3 hours. I've got to the almost to the boss of Act 1, and died on, like, yeah, last run, there you go. I died on floor 29 of 30 of the dungeon because I forgot to equip an item that I needed to save my life. I'm a derp, what can I say? So we've got these we've got a grid-based system. The overmap is almost a strange kind of analog of the map when you get into the dungeon. So you'll kind of progress through this in a kind of sort of grid-based system. You start down here, you'll do this dungeon, that's the Crypt of Newbies. And then you'll progress forward, you'll reach the Fortress Ruins. And there's a few branching paths. You head over here, you'll unlock the first character. Over here there's a temple. It will allow us to be blessed and receive extra benefits in battle. So for a bit of money, Blessing increases hero powers for 1 dungeon run, so once we've unlocked this, you can get some extra perks in battle. So 15 coins gets us an extra 20 health, that sounds good. And for 20 coins I can get more attack in the next run as well, so I want that as well, I think. Some more dungeons down here. This is more of an optional kind of side dungeon that will unlock a pike, but I don't know what a pike is. The game is not terribly forthcoming on some of the details sometimes. I presume it will be some kind of weapon. I'll kind of go in my inventory to swap out for a different weapon, but honestly, the game is kind of... Definitely one of the weak points is telling you kind of what things do a lot of the time. So the main dungeon we've got to do is the Zombie Cow Lair. So I have almost finished it. It does 30 floors, it is strong, it is a boss level, of course it is, and we get some money for finishing it. Let's head on in, let's do that. There's a few other things there, but I guess I'll show you them on the way out. Basically, It's a turn-based system, and involves clicking on tiles. It's kind of dungeon crawling Minesweeper is what it is. In a very strange kind of way. I think that's the way they kind of pitch it as well. Is you click on the tiles, and you might find an enemy under them. You might not. If the enemy is next to a tile, you cannot remove that tile. Ultimately, you're trying to find the golden key to open the door to head down. So I don't need to fight these enemies, because I found the golden key without engaging them. I could just go down. I could just head down to the next floor without getting into a fight. But there might be good things under these tiles as well, so I also need to weigh up the risks as to whether I actually want to fight these things. So I've got 5 damage, 16 armor and 83 health. Armor's not guaranteed to be depleted on a hit, but it usually is. I think I've got about a 40% chance to resist damage. Have a look on here, it might actually tell me. So armor 10, I've got a few other perks from various places that buffs that up a bit, and my durability is 40%. So it has a 40% chance to not be depleted by a point each time I take damage. Otherwise, the armor value will get depleted before my health. So, what do we want to fight? We've got 3 bats with varying sort of damage levels, and we've got a zombie. I will one-shot all of them, because you can see from their health, they've all got less than 5, so I will hit them all. But the enemies always get to hit first. So, whatever I'm attacking is going to hit me for 3 damage, and probably take 3 damage off my armor. So if I take out the zombie, because if we right-click on them, we can see the kind of the perks they've got. So zombies, increase power when other creatures die. They can also cause bleeding effects on me, but the cannibalism is the nasty one. So if I kill a bat, for instance, he suddenly becomes a lot nastier. I don't like that. The bat did drop some loot, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to use that loot. We're going to go into the crafting system, because that loot allows me to make bombs. Basically, there's some crafting materials there that make a bomb. I will say there's a crafting... I have found a bit of a crafting exploit that allows you to make infinite bombs. Developers might want to get on that. It's not even like a hard bug to do. It's just keep clicking the crafting button, and eventually you just sort of... And keep clicking it until you've made as many bombs as you want. Which is a little bit cheaty. Actually, no, it's very cheaty. So, zombies, I know from my experience, he has a weakness to fire. Which is good, because I just got myself some fire bombs. I just made some of those. 5 fire damage, but because he's weak to it, he's going to take even more. So we're going to throw a fire bomb at him. He's going to take 7 damage, and the zombie's dead. So he's not going to get any more powerful from me killing the bats. Admittedly, I think the best way to engage things I found is just, well, not to engage. Using things like these bombs are probably the best way through as much of this as you can. You should, I guess, use bombs as often as possible. What exactly did I get there? I did not read that one. I've got a medallion. It vibrates in your hands. Chance to make critical hit increased by 10%. Presumably that's an offhand item, I think. No, it's not. I was thinking the cross meant I couldn't equip it. No, it's kind of a trinkety one. So there we go, 10% critical hit chance. Which is kind of nice. That's good to have. So both these bats are going to die in one hit. They're going to do 2 damage to me each. I'll take those. I do have a chance to miss. I'm using a 2-handed weapon. I've got my spear. I think I'm using a spear, was I not? Yeah, I'm using a spear, which is nice damage, but because it's a 2-handed weapon, it gets a 20% penalty to accuracy. So, the 2-handed weapons have usually got some nice perks, in this case just being really, really powerful. But yeah, the lower accuracy means you get a chance to miss, which is not so great. So, iron ingots as loot, which allows me to add some armor. There's a little bit of a random chance there. It was 1 to 3 armor points, all I got was 1. Could be better. But actually, it couldn't be worse. That was literally as low as that value could have been. It could have been better. So each of the floors, you can burn through the floors fairly quickly if you want. You just want to grab as much stuff as you can and head down. You can do. I've still got those fire bombs. I'll still take out a zombie pretty effectively, so I want to do that. Anything fun under there? Not really. I could have a splash of the skeleton. Like them. This chap, he will, if you have any lucky coins, which is an item you'll find in the dungeons, you can give him a lucky coin and he'll fire his weapon at someone. Last time I tried it, he wasn't terribly effective at killing what I wanted him to kill, so I haven't really bothered with him to any great extent. There are, I think, better uses for the coins. There's some enemies that you can just persuade them to leave by giving them money. And occasionally we'll get these random events. So we found an ancient dwarven machine. There was a slot for iron ingots in it. Ah. Well, I just had one of those. Unfortunately, I wasn't carrying it. So there's some vaguely roguelite kind of elements in there. These kind of random events as you're going dungeon crawling. You'll stumble across random things that are going to be dependent on you having or not having specific things. Some things will also be dependent on your class. You'll be able to resolve some situations better by being a paladin than by being a vampire. So what do we want to do here? I haven't found a key, so I'm going to have to kill some of this stuff. Some of these are kind of nasty. This guy doesn't hit hard, but he's got a lot of health. He's slightly weak to fire. He's definitely weak to shock. He reflects damage back at me, so I really don't want to hit him too much myself, otherwise I'm going to take damage. And what's really nasty about them is that they will burn some of my spells. Fortunately, at this stage, that's actually not a downside because I don't have any. You'll have to pick up the spells as you go. You kind of pick up a bit, I guess, like scrolls of your spells, and then they use them as a consumable. I don't have any at this point in time, so he's not gonna burn anything. I do still have that shock bomb, 3 shock damage. He takes bonus shock damage. Is that gonna kill him? No, 5 damage. Not gonna kill him, unfortunately. I do have a gun which has 3 shots, which I kind of like these ones. So we could take one of those. We could finish him off with that. We could try and shoot the zombie. I think I'd be better off taking out that. Although, I do still have that zombie as a problem. Right, we'll use the gun against the zombie. Boom. And am I just going to have to take the hits? I might just have to take the hits. Let's take the hits. So there's one of my spells. There we go. Now I have one of my holy lights. And these vary in power depending on your charge meter down here. We've got charge, which basically we get extra bonuses. We've got our passive effects here. Retribution. Killing an undead monster gives us a 5% chance to increase the next damage. If our charge meter is higher, that chance will be higher. We've also got Divine Intervention, which is a fun little one. It'd be cool if I could get to show that one off to you, but it's kind of a rarity. Sometimes when you find an enemy, the first thing that happens, the immediate result is he goes, "God, help me!" And in a very Monty Python-esque manner, the hand of God drops from the sky and squishes whatever you just unveiled. That's a really low chance to happen normally. It's normally 1 in 200, but you can up that to 1 in 40, I think. So it still doesn't happen a lot, but it happens enough to be quite nice when it does happen. So there we go, we've got our key out of here. Do I want to clear any of these guys out? There's probably not a lot of loot under there, there's only 3 left. If you do entirely clear the room, you'll get a little bit of bonus stuff, which is kind of nice. But it's usually just a bit of money. It depends how much you want the money, how much stuff you want to buy. At this point, I'm okay for now. The dungeon is filled with pungent gas from an ancient dragon that lives nearby. So if we take fire damage, we're going to take more. And we want to clear out the gas. So these ones, you kind of need to clear them by clearing out the surrounding tiles, I guess. It's not terribly clear exactly how that works. I don't know if the tiles need to be like entirely cleared around them in order for that to work. I can kill that zombie in 1 hit, so I don't need to really use anything there. There we go, that's okay. And because I killed an undead, I just got that little bolt of lightning tells me my next attack is a bit more powerful. So, because I got a spear, that was a random effect from my spear. The spear has there is a 20% chance upon discovering a monster to deal 1 to 2 damage. So you saw he just got stabbed through because that was the random chance. 1 in 5 monsters will get stabbed a bit with my spear. And because I got my bonus damage from last time, I can one-shot this guy. So he's out. He's gone. Yeah, so there is the gas around this tile. I mean, the tile's clear, but the gas hasn't gone, so I don't know if I need to clear all the other tiles or what I need to do in order to clear it. Now, they've kind of just faded after a while. This is what I mean about the game not really necessarily telling you everything you need to know. Kinda doesn't. So, oh god, this guy is big and tough, and he's got 11 health, he deals 3 damage. He's weak to fire, he's kinda weak to poison, a little bit weak to shock. What have I got that could do damage to him in any of those regards? We've got my flame spitter, and we've got a sharp stone which buffs my sword. I actually tell you what I've got those crafting materials which I can use to make bombs. I presume later I will pick up more recipes. You kind of get this one fairly early and you pick up like a scroll that's like, hey, now you can make bombs, which I'm fairly sure I could already make it before that, but hey, I don't know if that's a bug or whether they just give you a recipe for a thing you already know or what, but either way, I presume you will later be able to make other bombs, maybe from similar ingredients, I don't know. All I've got at the moment is that yellow powder stuff. Sulfur, probably, there we go. So he's burning, he's kind of nasty. Do I want to finish him off with a gun? I could try finish him off with a gun, or I could finish him off with one of those. That works, boom. He's weak to my divine wrath, so my holy light, there we go. I did mention this earlier. I don't think I finished explaining. Yeah, the charge meter also buffs these spells. So at the minute, it only does 3 healing to me or 2 damage to a target. A little bit more if they're weak to it. It obviously does fire damage. So that guy was weak to fire, so he took a little bit more damage, so he died. But if we charge up that charge meter, it will deal more. The way we're going to do that is by... we need to salvage some items. I don't know what I want to salvage. Maybe we could salvage the gun. That's probably a pretty good item to do. I fired it a couple times. It's only got 1 shot left in it. Let's try salvaging it. So that will fill up the meter by 3. That's alright. I'll take 3. So now it heals me for 8 and it will deal 3 damage to the target. It's predominantly a healing spell, so it's good for keeping yourself topped up, but it can be used in a pinch to kill enemies. If you want to deal damage to foes, you got this Hammer of Justice there. It's 100% chance to stun, and yeah, once you've charged this meter up to like level 5, it can do a rather nice amount of damage to your enemies. And in addition, as I say, we've now got 2% chance for Divine Intervention. So 1 in 50 enemies will get crushed by the finger of God, and killing an undead monster now gives a 14% chance to get more damage. So onwards, downwards. Every 5 floors will get some bonus stuff. Hey, treasure chest with some food in it. Food up there, kind of important. That ticks down by 1 every floor. If you don't have any food on each floor, you will starve to death. You'll start losing health each floor that you go down without having any food. And yeah, so you want to keep that up high. That I just got was a magic wand. That's an offhand item. Would require me to have a one-handed weapon, so it's not much good to me. Salvage fodder, to be honest. I could try selling it to this guy. He is a merchant. I don't think he's going to give me good money for it, though. 2 coins. I would rather salvage it, if I'm honest. What does he have, though? He has some iron ingots. Those would be good for either dwarven machines or patching up my armor. We've got a shield, but that is an offhand item, so it's still no good to me. There's an elemental shield, but that's an offhand item, and it's still no good to me. And we have strawberry liqueurs, which is an instant heal for 10 health, and the first time you drink any new potion in any given dungeon, you take 5 turns or minus 20% accuracy, because potions only make you drunk the first time. Okay, fair enough. I don't quite see how that works. Surely if these things are alcoholic, one would have thought it would have a fairly consistent effect, but whatever. So for the first time, when we're testing out things for the first time, we will take a little bit of a penalty, but thereafter, each time, it'll be okay. So I like my bombs, I like my sharp stones. I could probably take some armor, those would be good. Let's clear them out on those are always nice to have some armor. Let's use those. It'll say how many do you want to use. Let's have all 6 of them. It's going to give me 10 points of armor, that's alright. There's this bed here which will allow us to swap food for health, but I don't need to do that. Normally it would be a rate of 3, I think it's 3 health for each food you use. It might increase depending on your maximum health, I'm not entirely certain. There are certainly items that you can equip that will improve the rate of that, which will make it quite an effective way to do so. But at this point in time I have full health. And there's usually some hidden things hidden around. There are boxes here that have money in them. Yeah, always worth clicking on things that are around and about the place. So I think we're all done in the hideout. Let's head on down. The anti-mage dungeon. You cannot cast spells in this dungeon. A random effect that's rather unfortunate for me, although the only thing that really stops me using is the holy light there. It's not a big deal. Probably don't think I was going to be too reliant on the holy light. I'm now in a position where I need to kill something. We could throw... What could I do? I could kill either of them both quite comfortably, I suppose. I will kill that. Occasionally monsters of specific magic types will drop elemental stones of their type. You can use these stones to buff yourself against these attacks. That is a new one to me. I have not seen that. He didn't appear to drop anything, though, that I saw. I guess we're still in the first dungeon, so technically we are still being introduced to mechanics. I feel like I've seen most of the things now. As I say, I've been playing this for a few hours at this stage. I'll take the spell book, now that we can cast spells here. I'm not sure what the dealio was with that elemental stone, because... I'm not seeing it on my interface or inventory. This is what I mean about it. It's not necessarily clear. It's like, why did I get that tutorial tip there? Because it's actually not relevant to anything that's going on right now. So why would that happen? Let's have a look at this guy. Lich. Lich is weak to shock and ice. I don't think I've got anything that will do anything to that. I do have 5 damage, and I can use a sharp stone. That will give me... +2 attack. Yeah, it's +1 to 2 attack, so I kind of got lucky there. You can stack those. You can just keep equipping more sharp stones and buff your attack higher and higher and higher until you've got a crazy high attack. But 7 will do for this purpose. There we go. He's dead. He's out of that. So I'm not sure what happened there, but there was a bunch of chain of effects happened and things died. I guess I'm okay with that. There's a kind of a chain chomp thing here. If you interact with any square next to it, I think you're allowed to loot items, but if you kind of click to clear a square next to one of these things, they will bite you and deal a chunk of damage. So you can see the timer next to it. So if I now need to do 5 other moves in order for that to disappear. So the only thing I can really do is, well, I could just head down to the next floor, quite frankly. These enemies that are remaining are kind of nasty critters. I might be better off doing that. I can't kill the bats because this guy, one of his special effects is he has a tank. Protects other fiends from hero attacks by taking their damage. So if I try and damage the bats, that damage will go to this guy. It's a good way to actually clear these guys out a bit more effectively. If you attack an enemy that has low attack, you'll only take the attack damage from the low health enemy, and that damage will be transferred to the big enemy, thereby clearing him out a little more effectively. So it's not a bad little strategy there. I think in this instance I just kind of want to head down. I've opened the door, so there's nothing more that I want. I don't really want to get involved in a fight with those guys. Lanterns are a fun little tool. They will reveal all the things on the floor. I'm going to want to pick that up before I'm out of here. What have we got? Is there anything I can kill? I'll take the food. I want food. What do we want to kill? We've got some bombs. I've got this. That's good for healing, but I'm still on full health, so that's not really much use to me. I think what I'm going to want to do is probably just salvage that, actually. If I just salvage that, that will max out my charge meter. There we go. I'm at full charge. So I now have 20% chance to increase attack damage on killing undead, and 3% chance to get help from God. I thought it only went to 2.5. It goes a little higher than that, I guess, which is not bad. So these guys now, these spells, the Holy Light now heals me for 9, still only deals 3 damage to be fair. And the Hammer of Justice can do 4 damage, which is alright. That's a good chunk of enemy's health. Now I've got some space in my bag, I can grab that, because those are one of the more valuable items. That will reveal all the enemies in a dungeon, and shock any enemies that you do get. I could fight these guys. You know what, I'm going to save my health and head on down. I'm not even interested. Healing Pool, we restore a little bit of health every 5 turns. That's rather good. And we meet a heavily injured traveller. He asks for help. We have a paladin option. We shall heal him with our divine powers. You start to meditate and ask God to help this poor soul. When you open your eyes, you see the traveller has died. I'm not sure if that's like a crack at religion or what, but yeah, morale increased by the way though. Hey, we meditated, prayed to God to help the dying man, and God did not help the dying man, but it increased our morale. Okay, I'm not sure what went down there exactly, but he had some throwing knives. Throwing knives kind of go into this sort of queue to get into our inventory. We have a full inventory at this point in time, so that we can collect that when our inventory has some space. So the morale that just happened there, we've got morale up here because we are now happy. We've got a chance for an extra strike in battle. We can 20% chance to hit something twice instead of once, which is kind of nice. If events affect us in a negative way, we can get reduced morale. If you find some rotten food, it will do as supplies, but it will reduce your morale, for instance. And that will give you a chance to miss a turn. If you have poor morale, your character may, in a fight, just decide not to attack because they're not feeling so great. You've got this guy over here. He is a ranged character. He will constantly attack the hero. He's not terribly great at doing so, but nonetheless, until we can get to him, he will continue to shoot us every single turn. And he's got a barricade around him, so blocks around him take a few clicks to get through him. So that's kind of nasty. These sort of metal plates take a few clicks to clear out. So what I really want to do is use a ranged attack. Bombs, throwing knives, what have you are all pretty reasonable ranged attack, so let's just take out the skeleton with that. I don't really want to have to fight him, if I'm honest. They're kind of nasty. If you have a ranged weapon in your hands, I mean, I've got the crossbow available as an option for my character. It's not a very powerful weapon, but it is a ranged weapon, and it can be used for taking out things like those skeletons, even if you don't have anything in your inventory to take care of them. So if you're not running around with that, it's usually worth, you know, having at least something. So there we go, there's a few hits to get through that. A nice bomb that I wouldn't mind having. So yeah, it's worth having at least some manner of ranged weapon in order to just be able to clear out any skeletons that appear, those archer skeletons. That looks like it's a very similar bomb to the one I have, but I guess it's not exactly the same one, so I can't have it. So we'll head on down. We got lost and barely found a way out, so we lost some food. That's just an unfortunate one. So I think these are all the mechanics. I think mostly... Oh, there we go. Oh, there's our Finger of God. There we go. I was hoping I'd get a chance to show you that one, so that one's kind of fun. There we go. Alright, let's clear all these things. I got a coin. There we go. I think mainly where the game suffers the most is just quite aside from... Dang it, yeah. Quite aside from not necessarily explaining everything as well as it could do, I think just the pacing of it. Sometimes it feels a little slow. Just a lot of some design stuff. For example, you'll have noticed me doing every single time I want to use an item, like, okay, I'm going to use a bomb, I'm going to cast a bomb, I'm going to throw it over there, and then I've got, oh, I want to use another bomb, okay, use bomb, throw it over there, oh, now I want to use this, throw that over there. It takes a while. There's a lot of interface stuff that just kind of feels unnecessary. I mean, we've got there's a lot of stuff that's not going on around the side of the screen. Most of the interface is here. Everything we're actually interacting with is just the middle of the screen here. There's nothing going on over here. This is wasted space. There's nothing going on over here. This is wasted space. I'm only carrying 4 items. It only goes up to 6. Why could that not have been put on the screen to save me opening my inventory every time? Why could... Oh, jeez. It's... The system works, but it could have been better. It's just kind of a clunky way of dealing with what could have been a much simpler thing. What has this guy got for sale? Nothing terribly compelling. I've got nothing to sell him, so we're going to head on down. I'm still on good health, so we're alright. Pool of the Dark Overlord, so enemies get more health, so probably want to avoid them where possible. I have my lantern, that's useful for exploring this. We've got to see a dark cave, there might be something valuable inside. I don't want to do that because I actually was just about to show you how the lantern works. If we do that, that's going to go boop. Hey, that's very Minesweeper, isn't it? I mentioned the Minesweeper thing earlier, and I think Minesweeper... Visually, it looks like I'm playing Minesweeper, but I feel like Minesweeper is more tactical in this. This doesn't necessarily have as much strategy. Minesweeper, when you click on a square, it tells you what you can probably expect next to that square. And unless you use something like this lantern, which just basically says, hey, here's the solution to this flaw, really, you've got no way of knowing. It's mostly guesswork. You can certainly choose the most strategic way to deal with the problem once you've found the problem. You can throw bombs at things to take them out more effectively, you can throw ranged weapons, you can buff your attacks, you can make it more effective to deal with enemies, but ultimately, you don't know what you're clicking on, like ever. If I were to go to this floor, let's ignore these guys because I want to show you the floor. If I click on that square, okay, I've got a bat. What now? Which of these 2 squares is more useful to me? I have no information to help me out in that regard. Alright, I'll go with that one. Great, we cleared some space. Do I know how many enemies are in the adjacent squares? No, I don't. What about that one? Oh, there was an enemy under there. Unless I'd used a lantern, there was no way of me knowing that those were in there. And speaking of the lantern, I didn't show you, but it does inflict status effects on the enemy. But I'm also not sure what the status effects do, because the game never tells you these things. There's just another communication issue with it. So yeah, I've got a shock bomb there that will probably inflict shock on an enemy. I think what the shock status does is it allows you to attack first, but at no point was that ever explained. And in spite of them all having little sort of icons say, hey, they're afflicted with this status, if I throw some fire at some stuff, maybe we can find that one out. Let's throw some fire at them. There, oh look, they've got fire. Do I know what that does? Well, presumably it does damage over time. It's fire, I mean, that's fairly intuitive, but it'd be nice if you could hover over that and it actually told you what it did. Some of these issues I feel like are maybe an issue with it being released on mobile at the same time. Obviously you can't hover over anything, you can't have tooltips on mobile, and the same reason there's nothing on the interface you ever uses right click for anything, you've only got left click. So yeah, it's clearly designed for touch interface, but there's so many things that could be done better on a PC interface. We've got more screen space to work with. We've got more inputs. These things could have been used to make the game just a little more polished, and it's kind of not. Let us can we save and quit? I would like to head back out and show you things. Just getting between the title screen and here is also kind of awkward, as far as if I want to go back to the title screen to change the menu, I've got to click on Hero, and then I've got to click back, then that, and everything's always got there's always this little bit of a delay on the animation when everything pops up, so everything's just just takes a little longer than it should do. So okay, let's do that. Then I've got to scroll down. Alright, let's pick the character we want. Let's choose our paladin, then proceed. then this, and we've got to choose the zone. We're going to get between the title screen and actually starting. Then we've got to watch this animation as we go through the reads. Everything just takes a little longer than it should do. There's always this kind of this flourish that you can't skip in any way, and if you have to keep doing it, it just delays you and delays you and delays you, and I've been finding myself kind of frustrated with that. So the other bits in this area, some of the other stuff that I didn't get to show you earlier, I sort of skipped over, is we have the armory, which is basically just spending money on other equipment. Once you've unlocked something you've unlocked, you can equip it at any time. You start with the hammer for the paladin. I have bought the spear, which is the one we've been rolling with. Got the crossbow, as I say, two-handed weapon that gives you a chance to do 1 to 2 damage on a discovered monster, very, very similar to the spear in that regard. Slightly higher chance of it though, and it does have the ranged ability. It just does very low damage comparatively. Well, sword, a fairly well balanced one, 2 damage, 15% chance to deflect half of the physical damage. All available for money, so you spend your coins on them. It's as simple as. Mansion is a series of kind of perks, so all these things that are in red, well, they're items I don't have enough money for. The ones that are kind of highlight, it's not well illustrated. It took me a little while to figure out what was going on here. Some of the items are kind of not quite as vibrantly in the background. It still looks like that sword's there. Oh, the sword is there. Some of these, which ones are we looking at? I don't know if I have enough money to illustrate this well. Shield, no, I hid by the shield. Basically, some of the items, when you have enough money to buy them, but haven't yet acquired them, they appear like they're there, and I was like, have I got these things? Do I own these items? I presume I do. Well, this looks like I have them. I think everything that we can see here I actually have bought, but a bit of a visual issue there. It's like, oh, there's a chomper there, but if you have 2,000 coins, it will just look like you have a chomper in your room. You haven't bought it, you haven't got the perk from it, which is a 15% chance to eat one monster on each floor. Kind of nice. But I don't have it, it just kind of looks like I do. So each of these items is kind of a passive perk that's going to make dungeons a little bit easier. Bit of health from the bread, a bit of health from the cheese, extra food to start with from the roasted bird. The oil is going to increase the damage of our bombs, which is why they're a little more potent than they said they would be. We've got a cauldron over here, increases the loot drop from creatures by 10%. And I think as we unlock the other heroes, they're going to be kind of chilling out around here as well, because Vlad was not immediately here as soon as this feature was made available. He was kind of just a paladin chilling out in his mansion by himself. Why they're all hanging out together, I'm not quite sure. I guess they became very good friends on this journey. There you go. Those are the other two kind of progression mechanics that are going to make things a little easier. If you're having trouble, come back, spend some money on buffs and perks and things. It's gonna make life a little easier there. And even around here, I don't know if I've got everything or if they respawn everything. Some of these things have got like hidden things hidden in them as well if you click on them. Some of these trees and things have got like a bit of money in them. Not a lot, but a fun little diversion as well. Just fun little hidden things at the side. On the whole, Dungelot Shattered Lands is kind of a mixed bag. It's an interesting concept, but the whole Minesweeper thing, as I say, it doesn't feel... It feels like Minesweeper itself. Have I been saying Minesweeper or have I been saying Minecraft? I don't know. Have I been saying Minecraft? I may have said Minecraft more than once. I don't know if I have. At any rate, Minesweeper definitely feels like the more strategic title as far as I go, in spite of it being much, much older and much more simplistic. This is just random clicking, and I'm sure that's fine for spending a couple minutes while you're on a break on your mobile device. On PC, I don't know, I kind of feel like I want a little bit more to it than that. There's not enough meat to it there. You can certainly strategize about the combat, but the actual dungeon crawling bit feels like a bit of a, RNG crapshoot, if I'm honest. I have no way to determine which of these tiles are good, which ones are bad. All I can do is prod at them and hope I don't hit them. And again, with it slowing you down, those chain chomps, if I'm quickly going click, 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 click to try and clear out some tiles, I can quite comfortably and easily click on a chain chomp and then immediately on a tile next to it, and just immediately take the damage, just because I was trying to play the game faster than the game maybe would have liked me to play the game, which is frustrating as well in and of itself. I have a feeling this game probably will be pretty solid as a mobile title. On PC, I don't know, I would have a hard time recommending it. There's some good ideas in here, but it's yet another example of a game that could have been done well on PC, but not nearly enough thought has been given to actually doing the PC port. that's generally just the vibe I get through and through. All the interface, all the design choices, everything feels like you could have done this better. It's not bad, but you could have done it a lot better. I can very easily see a lot of ways it could be done a lot better. And where they haven't, it just winds up being frustrating, unfortunately. Alright, this is out on Steam if you wish to take a look at it. It is £6.99 or your regional equivalent. Their launch week discount brings it down to £5.94. I'm not going to be putting it up on my curator page as a recommendation, but it's not the worst title I've ever seen. It's just kind of average, I'm afraid. There you go, Dungelot Shattered Lands. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Meroka. I will see you next time.